Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome back to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore entities of the unexplained, the supernatural, paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. Yep, I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and on today's episode, we are going to be crossing the line between Sasquatch and fairy, because only the most magical of Sasquatch can get to the island of Hawaii. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I hope you are all doing good. I did see you this morning over there on Sci-Fi Saturday, Dave. Good stuff. And I want to clarify that, I won't be switching the time slots for Live from the Hive. It's just going to be the time slot for the premiere of these episodes of Cryptic Corner, which are carved out of Live from the Hive and then published independently as to allow for archiving of each episode on YouTube, so people can watch each episode of Cryptic Corner without having to watch the full Live from the Hive 3-hour stream, because Cryptic Corner is only about an hour usually. I've been really good about keeping it right around an hour, so it generally runs like the shortest that I think I've seen in the last 6 months was maybe 45 minutes, and then the longest one I think ran close to an hour and a half, because it was a big topic. But it's always at least gonna run about an hour. So having little hour bite-sized pieces of Cryptic Corner to watch independently will continue, but the premieres for those episodes will be moved to a midnight Eastern time slot. So you will not have to worry about missing out on it as long as you catch it here on Live from the Hive on Saturday mornings, chilling in the library or sitting at home. It matters not. You will still be able to enjoy the show. All right, so I want to thank everybody for coming into to hang out in the live chat here, but let's jump right into the topic. All right, so today we are visiting the islands of Hawaii, and Hawaii is it's not exactly known for its cryptids, but we're going to see what they have to offer up. This is probably the largest cryptid in Hawaii, though, even though it's a small creature. And we're going to have Uncle Perry tell us about it. Let's see. I'm going to let Uncle Perry describe his channel. It's only a minute long, but you can kind of see where we're going.
Howdy, y'all. How in the hell are you? I'm Uncle Perry. I scarinate stories about ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, pretty much anything and everything weird, strange, and paranormal. I write almost all the stories I narrate. However, I'm open to narrating your stories too. If you've got a good, creepy story, I'm the one to tell it. Either send it to me in a comment or send it to my email. It's in the description below. I write, narrate, film, edit, post, market, and even compose some of the background music. I'm a scary one-man band. All right, enough chit-chat. It's time to sit back, grab some popcorn, turn out the lights, and let's get creepy.
Yeah, the Ember says Hawaii has a ton of creepy critters. The night marchers are super interesting, in my honest opinion. The thing about Hawaiian cryptids, they're almost they go more along, and we're going to see that with the Minahuni today. They go along more like it's very similar, in my opinion, to like Irish fairy lore. But yeah, yeah, he's a guy.
Difficult to verify.
Let's see. We're gonna start. Are they real? Minihune, Cryptid Mystery of Hawaii.
On a secluded vacation in Hawaii, Sarah and Tom were captivated by the island's beauty and the tales of the Menehune, mythical, small-statured people said to be master builders that work under the cover of night. One evening, curiosity got the better of them, and they ventured deep into the forest, hoping to catch a glimpse of these elusive little fuckers.
Elusive little fuckers. I like that. Let's start using that euphemism in our daily conversation.
As the moon hung low in the sky,
I'm going to go out and I want to see a Gila monster while I'm out here in the Chihuahua Desert, but there's some elusive little fuckers. I'm with it. Let's do it.
they came across an ancient stone wall, perfectly constructed but mysteriously incomplete. It was a Menehune construction, abandoned at the break of dawn, falling in line with the legend. Thrilled, they decided to camp nearby and see if the Menehune come back. In the dead of night, Sarah awoke to faint sounds, tiny footsteps in the mud, and
So, gnomes, right-handed Sith said Hawaiian gnomes or dwarves. They're sort of, they toe that line between wild man, like hairy hominid, and yeah, gnome or dwarf. Yeah, dwarf's a good example too because they build stuff. They're super into construction. Perfectly constructed, but it's just a pile of rocks in a row. Is it a perfect pile of rocks? Tropical dwarf activity. They are a lot like dwarves. Yeah. And again I call them hairy hominids because that's just some versions of the depictions. A lot of versions also depict them as just little people. So
the soft hum of distant voices. She quietly nudged Tom awake, and together they peeked out of
that was a really nice tent they were camping in there. Damn.
their tent. There, in the moonlight, they saw them. Dozens of Menehune, no taller than 2 feet, working diligently on the wall. Fascinated, Sarah leaned forward, snapping a twig underfoot. The Menehune froze, their eyes locking onto her. Instantly, the forest grew silent. That's when she
Why
knew...
did you make them so sexy? And give them and not give them any sort of Polynesian features. This is just a white guy with a tan. Stable diffusion web, of course it is. Yeah. But I'll use an AI engine, but if I do make something with AI, you bet your ass I'm going to be manipulated it in Photoshop in it. I would not have left this guy's face like that. I would not have left these people in the background blurry like that. I would have done something different with it, I guess. Yeah, Hawaiian boys lift. Them's good looking dwarves. Exactly. Child labor. Those aren't dwarves. They're a bunch of Ewoks. I wish they looked more like Ewoks and less like Mr. Hawaiian Tropic contestants.
Instantly, the forest grew silent. That's when she knew she fucked up. According to the lore, anyone who spies on the Menehune while they're working is doomed. But they didn't know that.
Okay, native atheist, I'm going to ask you right now, if you're going to be posing for model pictures, wear the t-shirt, wear the Jersey Devil t-shirt, and if you want a t-shirt, actually, you know what? Ad drop. Get your Cryptic Corner t-shirts. The Cryptic Corner t-shirts. Get them while they're hot. They're always hot, though. You will look so fashionable in a Cryptic Corner t-shirt. You know you want one. There's actually, it says 4 here. There's actually 5 because we have the spring special design, which is the Fresno Nightcrawler. And if you want to know what that looks like, you got to go check that out. All right, back to the show. Ads. Doing my own ads.
The couple's heartbeats quickened as the Menehune vanished.
Well, a good-looking dwarf has a nice beard. That's the thing, you know? Yeah? I like Thor and Oakenshield. I like his... run my fingers through that beard.
Vanished, leaving behind only the deafening silence of the night. The next morning, some villagers found the couple still by the ancient wall, turned to stone, their expressions frozen in fear. The Menehune had turned them into twin stone pillars standing on the wall that can be seen to this day.
Let's see them.
The Menehune had ensured their secrecy.
I don't think that was them. Those were statues. I want to see the stone pillars. They got turned to stone pillars. Why didn't you show us a picture of it? Is there a picture of it? Is it real? No. Thorn is my daddy. No, you got it wrong. Definitely, I'd stand Mr. Oakenshield. If you're gonna blame him for the dragon sickness thing, then we're gonna have words, because that's not something a dwarf can control. And there may have even been one of the rings in that gold hoard causing Thorin to act the way he did. So I don't want to hear it.
He would remain intact, just as the legend warned. In the heart of Hawaiian mythology, the Menehune stand as some of the most intriguing...
Well, I mean, I thought it was folklore about a real landmark, though. Hey, Sandy doll. So Big Zebra says, no, it's folklore, but I'm thinking that if there's folklore about 2 standing stones on a rock wall, there's probably 2 standing stones on a rock wall for the folklore to be about, but speculation, of course. It could completely be fictional, like Camelot's not a real place, you know, but even Camelot, though, is based on the idea of Alba. So, yeah.
Intriguing and enigmatic figures. These tiny little shits are said to inhabit the deep forest.
Okay, so we have elusive fuckers and tiny little shits. Yeah. So, like, Gila monsters are not tiny little shits, but they are elusive fuckers. So there's elusive little fuckers, but they're different in that way. Apparently, there's just a rock wall, from what I can find. You know, Ember's out there sleuthing. Maybe it's like the pillar of salt they find near Gomorrah in the desert, right? That would be cool. Yeah. Do you all remember when it was inspiring philosophy that really kind of blew it up? When like, oh, they found the ruins of the city of Sodom where it got struck by a meteor. It's like, okay, no. Yeah, what color are your eyes? Is that a good question to just leave on there for a couple of weeks? I want to find out whatever color everybody's eyes is. Because I've been told that my green eyes are super rare. But I know a lot of people with green eyes, but that's because I mostly have lived around white people that I'm related to. As I'm moved out of my homogenous Midwestern culture, I've noticed that there's a lot more brown eyes in the world, and there's so many different gorgeous colors. I love them. So what color are your eyes? You tell us.
And hidden valleys of the Hawaiian Islands, rarely seen by human eyes. They're described as stout, muscular, and standing between 2 to 3 feet tall, with darker skin, low foreheads, thick eyebrows, and eyes that give them exceptional night vision.
So
some are said to be as...
Maybe show pictures of what you're actually describing, though. Like, I know you're using like stable diffusion, but you can describe the character with thick eyebrows, because this guy doesn't have. None of these guys have thick eyebrows, right? or large eyes that have for night vision, low foreheads and all that. None of that. This looks like a just a version of a Polynesian. This one does look more Polynesian, for sure, than the previous one, but it doesn't look like a dwarf. And check out the right arm on this guy. Is it going down the guy behind him's pants? Is that what's happening here? Because either it turns into his loincloth or he's got his hand shoved all the way down this dude's pants. Am I seeing things? Is that what we're seeing here? And then the other guy's arm disappears. So yeah, this is why I say if you're gonna use AI, I know there's a lot of people that it uses this much energy and stuff, but so does everything you search in a search engine. Anytime you type anything on the internet now, it's running through an AI. You can't avoid it. The only way you can avoid using AI is to avoid using the internet, because you can't even use a search engine. You type something in Google, the AI is scanning it through. Yeah. A double recessive gene, really? And my eyes are like hazel green too. So if I wear the right colors, my eyes will turn blue or gray. And if I wear when I wear a yellow color or a red or a warm, because I say warm colors, it makes the yellow flecks in my eyes really pop. So I have like yellow green eyes. Really cool. Yeah. Did the guy consent to have that hand shoved down his pants? I don't know.
Them exceptional night vision. Some are said to be as small as 6 inches, small enough to fit in the palm of your hand.
6 inches. So 6 inches to 3 feet. That's a good height range. He says he's 3 feet, but he's only 6 inches. That's kind of what you can anticipate.
The Menehune are skilled craftsmen and builders, possessing remarkable strength and dexterity, despite their small stature. Hawaiians believed they could call on the Menehune to complete construction work overnight, paying them with 1 shrimp for each Menehune. They're obviously not union. The Menehune...
Shrimp. Though I work for shrimp too. I'll build you a little rock wall for shrimp. Yeah. But I'll need more than 1 shrimp. I'm not 6 inches tall. I'm gonna need give me a shrimp basket. Endless shrimp would be good. Or you want to grill up some shrimp, you can sit there at the grill. And I'll even I'll even put on a bikini or something for you. And build your rock wall in a bikini. Would that work?
Menehune are known for their nocturnal nature, emerging only under the cover of darkness to construct their works with incredible speed and precision. Their craftsmanship is unparalleled, with creations scattered across the islands as silent...
See, the Hive is a lot like Menehune, right? Look at them all out there wanting to work for shrimp. You got trees and ember. You got big zebra. Y'all wanna work for some shrimp? You got all my muscles out there.
Testaments to their existence. These little guys are said to live in caves or primitive tent-shaped huts of sticks covered over with banana, fern, or other leaves, rather than the traditional plated thatched Polynesian home. Their favorite foods were bananas, fish, taro, and sweet potatoes, and they were known for their love of games and...
That's what the native Hawaiians ate too. What a coincidence. Some of that stuff that the Hawaiians brought with them when they colonized the islands. So which leads the question, did the Hawaiians bring the Minahune with them when they came to Hawaii, or did they migrate independently? And if they migrated independently, what did the Minahune eat before the taro and all that was brought to the island? Red Lobster is being drained by pirate capitalists. No, I'm not fond of seafood. I eat some once or twice a year. I love seafood. I could eat seafood every day, but it's expensive. Yeah, I think Red Lobster is definitely still in business. I still see ads for them. You know who else is still in business? Steak and Shake. You know who we should help not be in business? Steak and Shake. So don't eat a Steak and Shake because they're freaking MAGA. I mean, am I allowed to call for a boycott of a of a business? Boycott Steak and Shake. They actually said drive your Tesla down and get some tallow fries because, oh my gosh, they innovated cooking their fries in tallow, something that like McDonald's came up with in the 50s. So, or not 50s, 60s, I think it was. Anyway, in the middle of the last century. We'll just go with that. Yeah, good riddance to them. Good morning, Navy.
Sports.
Navi, Navy.
They also enjoy dancing, singing, and archery.
Yeah.
But not all three at the same time. In Hawaiian mythology,
dancing, singing, archery? Yes, please. I wanted to get into archery as a kid, but I don't know if I just wasn't any good at it or didn't have the discipline for it. My brother got more into it than I did. We both got bows for Christmas one year, though. What about you guys? Do you all do archery?
Minahune hold a special place, symbolizing the ancient connection between the land and its earliest inhabitants. Some early scholars hypothesized that
Ember, what about the prions, though? Because I imagine if you ate a Minahune, you'd have the same kind of effects as cannibalism. Actually, if this was a real creature, like a real entity, a real race, a real species, it would be some. It'd have to be some kind of species of. It'd be a different subspecies of Homo sapien, right? It would have to be, because it would have. I mean, if it's not, there would have been. We'd have some other old world genetic lineage that left enough traces of civilization that they were building seafaring or seaworthy vessels, right? So if the Minahune, if I was going to put this into a speculative evolutionary time frame, it would be a descendant from Homo erectus that also colonized Hawaii maybe thousands of years ago before the natives arrived, and there was just a relict population on the island when the first Polynesians arrived, and they either wiped them out or bred them out, whichever. I do shoot, but just air rifle and air pistol. I taught my daughters archery. Cool. I'm a decent shot with a bow. Look at the trees. I'm not surprised. You also do. My big passion when I was younger, when my brother was really into archery, was throwing knives. I'm actually really good at the twirling and stuff with throwing knives. I can bluff my way into looking like I'm a badass with knives, and I'm really just doing like old timey baton stuff with them. It's just knowing when to sharp end is. What if they were Denisovans? Yeah, Denisovans or Homo floriensis. That one's always hard to say. The Hobbit people that lived on the island of Flores. And then you have the things like the Orangopindic, which people think is also related to that. So, yeah, something like that. If I had to speculate, I was very into archery, also a Ren Fair kid, so double influence. Oh yes, like longbows and stuff, huh? Did Hawaii ever nail that invasive pig problem? I know they were working on it. No, it's pigs are almost impossible to eradicate, but aminihunis are apparently not too hard to eradicate. I shoot instinctive with no sights or on a recursive bow. Yeah.
Hawaii was first settled by people from the Marquesas Islands, who were later driven into the mountains by Tahitian invaders around 1100 AD.
No, it's Floresensis is how it's spelled. There's Flores and then Ensis. Yeah, because it's like named after the island of Flores. Floresensis.
Tahitians referred to these first settlers as Manahune, meaning lowly people, or literally translated, it means those lacking spiritual power.
Hold on just a second, because I do want to say, yeah, throwing axes are satisfying and a lot easier than throwing knives. I shouldn't say throwing. I had tomahawks. I had they weren't like a matching pair or anything. I had two different tomahawks, but I had definitely more throwing knives. But the thing about throwing knives is you gotta get your shot. It's got to be a fine point. Whereas with a throwing axe, you got a whole curved, weighted surface that you can hit anywhere.
Over time, these displaced people came to be known as the Menehune. The Menehune evoke both admiration and fear. They're respected as helpful builders, but also feared as tricksters who can either assist or hinder those who piss them off. This dual nature.
So, Big Zebra, when it comes to invasive insects, we have done that with mosquitoes. We've genetically modified. There was GMO mosquitoes released in Florida and Texas a few years back. We should follow up on that, though.
Adds a layer of complexity to their character, making the Menehune a fascinating subject in cryptozoology. The Menehune's presence in Hawaiian culture has captivated generations, weaving a sense of wonder and mystery into the landscape they inhabit. To encounter the Menehune is to step into a world where myth and reality blur, where the ancient and the mystical intertwine in the shadows of Hawaii's lush forests.
Who would like to intertwine in the lush forest of Hawaii with the Hive? Let's go to Hawaii. We'll do a Hawaii special, y'all. We'll do a fundraiser to send me to Hawaii, and we will go look for the Menehune. Who's in? Let's go. Let's go on an adventure. Let's go on a tropical adventure. I don't need a whole herd of you though, because I know just a handful of people for my research team. So let's do it.
The lore of the Menehune is deeply woven into the fabric of Hawaiian culture, embodying both the history and the mystery of the islands. These elusive critters are central figures in many Hawaiian legends, often depicted as master builders with extraordinary skills, capable of constructing complex structures in a single night. The Menehune are said to work tirelessly between dusk and dawn, disappearing before the first light to ensure their activities remain unseen.
Unseen by who, then? Is it just unseen by people? Because, that's a adapted nocturnal behavior, which generally, we see in a lot of, large predators, Well, in areas where there's not humans, things like wolves and even big cats will hunt day and night. But where there's humans, they only hunt at night. So, I'm wondering if the Menehune are supposed to have done this after the Hawaiian Polynesians arrived, and if so, like, what happened to all their structures and stuff? If they're like so into building and they've been living there for thousands of years, yeah, then shouldn't there be like tons of Menehune structures all over the islands, like cities of them that we should be able to see?
They are supernatural stoneworkers with a deep connection to the west side of Kauai, Hawaii. The stories of the Menehune, passed down through generations, add to the rich tapestry of Hawaiian mythology. When the first Polynesians arrived in Hawaii, they found dams, fish ponds, roads, and temples, all attributed to the Menehune. Some of these structures, like the Alikoko fish pond in Kauai, still exist. A lava rock wall between the pond and the Hulia River, which is 900 feet long and 5 feet high, was built to create a dam across a portion of the...
That jelly donut's been freaking calling my name. I just been like eyeballing. I'm like, at some point you're gonna have to bite that jelly donut and let it squirt in your mouth. It's delicious. Nom nom nom. Look at that. All right. Usually you have to go to my OnlyFans to see content like that. You're welcome.
River in order to trap young fish until they grew large enough for the community to consume. This lava rock wall, estimated to be 1,000 years old, is an unexplained engineering achievement. For parts of the wall, workers would have needed to work underwater. The stones they used came from Makaweli village, 25 miles away. Thousands of Menehune stood shoulder to shoulder and passed the rocks, fire brigade style, to the wall. Alikoko fish...
How is this not colonialist, calling it? They're not colonists. Colonialism saying, hey, brown people couldn't have built this stuff. It's the same thing with like the pyramids. Or Machu Picchu or any of that stuff. All built by supernatural powers because the people who lived here were too dumb to do it.
Pond was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973. The cultural significance of the Menehune extends beyond their role as builders. They symbolize a simpler, more harmonious time when the land was inhabited by those living in balance with nature. The Menehune are portrayed as peaceful, shy, and industrious, working in secret to create beauty and order. Their legacy reminds Hawaiians of humility, hard work, and respect for the land. The impact of the Menehune on Hawaiian culture.
It is really cool that the Hawaiians were able to build that to build that dam, right? I'm like down with that. Yeah, they carry those stones 25 miles. That's not outside of the realm of humans. So I don't know why you need supernatural powers to do it.
Culture is profound, influencing folklore, art, architecture, and social values. Structures attributed to the Menehune are sacred sites. And no bullshit, over 20 temples and other structures credited to the Menehune are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Necker Island, part of the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, contains 52 archaeological sites with 33 ceremonial heiau, basalt upright stones, and stone artifacts similar to those in the main Hawaiian Islands. Anthropologists believe Necker Island was a ceremonial site, with legends stating really cool. It was the last known refuge for the Menehune before being chased off Kauai by stronger Polynesians. Visits to the island began a few hundred years after the main Hawaiian islands were inhabited and ended a few hundred years before European contact. 11 upright stones of what are believed to be the original 19 are still standing. A historic irrigation ditch near Waimea on Kauai, also known as the Menehune Ditch, was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1984.
The Menehune Ditch.
Hawaiians built many stone-lined ditches to irrigate ponds for growing taro, but rarely used dressed stone. The Menehune Ditch, predating the 1000 AD Tahitian migrations, features 120 cleanly cut basalt blocks, which would have required precision tools and techniques for cutting, that line about 200 feet of the ditch. The legend of the Menehune remains a powerful force in Hawaii today, speaking to the enduring mystery of the island.
So, let's look at this Menehune Ditch thing real quick, because most of the information I have on the Menehune is related to this ditch. The mysteries of the Menehune Ditch in Kauai, Hawaii. Kauai's west side is a place where most visitors don't spend much time other than the usual tracks and cruising the Napali coast. Having grown up here for generations, we at Makana Charters want our guests to get the most out of their visit to the sunny side of the island. You may have heard stories or mention of the Menehune, a mythical race of small people rumored to live on the island before colonization. There are strong opinions on both sides of the argument on whether or not they did, or I should say do, exist. But one place leaves clues that ignite questions about the subject. It provides evidence that this small tribe even had a hand in irrigation farming alongside the Waimea River. The Menehune Ditch would be easy to pass by if it weren't for the sign pointing to it and swinging bridge next door. The road to take, it is the same one as our check-in office on Alloway Road, which eventually feeds into Menehune Road. As you are crossing the river bridge, getting into Waimea, you'll see our office right in the corner. You take the road all the way until the pavement ends, where you will see a swinging bridge. On the post of the bridge is a sign pointing across the road to Menehune Ditch. You might feel a bit underwhelmed by this attraction, which is fair enough. It's hard to compete with the stunning vista of Waimea Canyon and the Napali coast and all our gorgeous beaches. But the attraction here is more of a curious mind than a treat for the eyes. What you will see is a stone wall that looks very old, carrying water between itself and the cliff it runs parallel to. It looks similar to irrigation tactic to divert water to farms. Innocent enough, right? But then you see where the ditch leads. The tunnel is so small that even crawling through it would be tight. It looks like an ancient stone form of a metal culvert we use today. Who could believe that this small tunnel, who could build this small tunnel? Tools of the ancient Kauai were not advanced enough to drill that far into rock, and the water appears as though the walls were carved out by hand. Does it appear that it was carved by hand? I don't know. Could it be that the tunnel was built by a small race of ancient people who were able to assist in creating complex irrigation systems in ancient Hawaii? Or is there another explanation for why the tunnel was built so small? Either way, it's a fun way to spark curiosity and try to get people to solve the mystery. A plaque at the site gives more information. Or a plaque. A plaque at the site gives more information. Kids love to swing the swinging bridge that crosses the river, and horse watching from the bridge. So it even shows you where to go to see this. Yeah, but this is the alleged tunnel that was hand carved. I don't think it looks hand carved, but they think it looks hand carved. I think we're talking about some like periodolia here. But anyway, continuing on, because we're only 11 minutes in, we got 33 minutes
where the natural and supernatural blur.
Or left of this episode.
Traditionally, tales of the Menehune were passed down by elders to younger generations, often during gatherings or around campfires. These stories embedded moral lessons, cultural knowledge, and respect for the environment, highlighting the importance of nature, hard work, and community cooperation, values deeply ingrained in Hawaiian culture. Sightings of the Menehune have been reported for centuries, adding layers of intrigue.
Now this is the part we've been waiting for, right? The sightings.
To the already mysterious legends surrounding these tiny folks. Though often fleeting and shadowy, these encounters have left a lasting impression on those who have witnessed the Menehune, further cementing their place in Hawaiian folklore. These sightings are in chronological order, revealing a fascinating twist that deepens the mystery of these badass little people. There are several reports of people finding small, childlike footprints creating a trail through their homes, going up the walls and even across their ceilings. Okay, that's a little fucking creepy. The earliest recorded sightings of the Menehune date back to the 18th century, when the early European explorers and missionaries arrived in Hawaii. These newcomers were told stories by the native Hawaiians about the Menehune, and some even had encounters themselves. One of the most famous early accounts comes from the journals of Captain James Cook, who visited the Hawaiian Islands in 1778. Cook's crew,
one of the original colonial, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word for it. These fuckers who went around the Pacific and Indian Ocean, claiming the land of the indigenous people as for whatever European power that they kissed the ring of.
Recorded stories from the local people about small, nocturnal beings who lived in the mountains and forests. Although the sailors themselves did not report seeing the Menehune, they were taken aback by the consistency, sincerity, and the amount of the encounters they were told of by the natives. In the early 19th century, sightings of the Menehune became more frequent, particularly in the more remote areas of the islands. In 1820, a group of missionaries reported seeing small figures moving quickly through the forest as they traveled through the island of Kauai. The missionaries described the figures as being about 2 feet tall, with dark skin and a quick, purposeful gait. They noted that the figures seemed to disappear almost as soon as they were seen, melting into the shadows of the forest. This account is significant.
So, I mean, honestly, this could also be just a unique haplogroup that was part of the Hawaiian population before the colonizers came, and that maybe lived alongside the Tahitian population, or the Tahitian ancestor population, but had a unique phenotype or genotype, and maybe they don't exist anymore, but they would still be Homo sapiens, right? Even Homo sapiens sapiens, just a different haplogroup. It was different phenotypic expressions. There's like small statured people now, like the pygmy people of the Congo. I don't know if pygmy is the right word for it anymore. Sorry if that's colonizer language there. But yeah, Southeast Asia has some little small statured people. So
not only because of its early date, but also because It comes from fellas who are typically skeptical of local superstitions and legends. Another notable sighting occurred in 1862 on the island of Oahu. A plantation worker named Kimo encountered a group of menehune while working late at night near a sugarcane field. According to Kimo, he saw a line of small figures moving silently through the field, each one carrying a stone. When he called out to
That does work. Imperialist. Yes.
them, the figures froze, turned to look at him, and then vanished into the night, leaving behind only the stones they had been carrying. Kimo's story spread quickly among the plantation workers, many of whom claimed to have seen similar things over the years. By the early 20th century, the sightings of the menehune had become a well-established part of Hawaiian culture. In 1904, a school teacher
Homo florenzensis. Yes, that's correct.
on the island of Maui reported seeing a group of small figures near the base of a waterfall while on a hike with her students. The figures, which she described,
I have to say the name of the island first, right? I have to say Flores, and then I can say the name Homo florenzensis. If I try to just say it without, and I don't have to say it out loud. I can just say it in my head, but otherwise I'll say florenzensis or something along those lines. Yeah, gotta say the name, tell myself the name of the island first.
described as no more than 3 feet tall, appeared to be gathering stones from the riverbed. When the teacher and her students approached, the figures quickly disappeared into the dense foliage. Despite the briefness of the encounter, the teacher was adamant that what she had seen was real, and her story was widely reported in local newspapers. One of the most compelling modern sightings occurred in 1944 during World War II.
Yeah, I mean, you're in right hand. Just say Egyptians showed that it's possible to saw clean lines in granite, limestone, and marble with copper saw and sand. They don't even need copper. Any stone that's denser than the stone you're trying to cut will do if you have the right grade. If you have the right grade of sand. But I've seen the process. It's slow. It's slower than modern technology, but it still works. It's still there.
A group of soldiers stationed on the island of Kauai claimed to have seen the menehune while on a night patrol in the mountains. According to their account, they saw a group of small, human-like figures moving quickly through the trees, carrying tools and building materials. The soldiers, who were initially skeptical, followed the figures for some time before losing them in the dense undergrowth. Despite their disbelief, the soldiers could not shake the feeling that they had witnessed something extraordinary. Their account was later corroborated by other members of their unit who had nearly identical experiences. In 1964, a Hawaii newspaper stated that an 11-year-old boy in Makaha claimed to have seen a menehune. Now, when questioned by the school principal and a reporter, the boy said that he was watering the front lawn when he thought he heard somebody behind him. He turned, and there was a short man dressed in a cloak and a helmet. He was about as tall as a mailbox. The principal asked the boy if he was excited. He replied, "I don't know what I was. He smiled at me, sort of mischievous, and then walked away. He had big eyes like a cat. He walked real slow. When he ran around the corner of the house, I got excited. I wanted to follow him, but he disappeared." The reporter explained in his article that the mother showed him 2 sets of footprints in the mud under a newly planted plumeria tree.
Those are inverted footprints. That's pretty wild. How do you? Maybe it's one of those things. If you look at it long enough, it'll turn inside out. But I don't think so. These just like inverted footprints to me. Like literally, like somebody's buried in the mud with just the bottoms of the soles of their feet sticking out, and they're also coated with mud.
Another set at the corner of the house, and 5 muddy footprints going up the wall across the picture window. What the fuck? Could the menehune have been a youngster wearing a mask? No, the boy said, because he smiled and you can't see a smile with a mask on. When the principal asked the boy if he'd ever seen a real witch or goblin, the boy replied, "I don't believe in things like that." He was serious enough that the adults around him, including his principal and the reporter, were convinced that the boy believed he definitely...
What happened to his knuckles? I mean, I don't think this is the boy, but I'm kind of worried about this kid.
They saw a menehune. In 1972, a group of camp...
They have... that makes sense. They have concave soles to walk up walls, to suction cup to walls. Aha! That does make sense. Brilliant. Brilliant trees.
On the island of Molokai reported seeing small figures moving through their campsite late at night. The figures, which the campers initially thought were somebody's kids, were seen gathering stones and arranging them in patterns on the ground. When the campers approached, the figures scattered, disappearing into the darkness. The next morning, the campers...
Why didn't they use their magic to turn them to stone? If I was a Menehune and I could turn people to stone, there'd be a lot of stone people around. I'm just saying.
found the stones arranged in what appeared to be the foundation of a small structure, though no other evidence of the figures remained. A Menehune sighting occurred in 2003 on the island of Kauai, near the famous Menehune fish pond. A local fisherman reported seeing a group of small figures near the edge of the pond, working with stones and mud. The fisherman watched in awe as the figures worked quickly and silently, shaping the stones with their hands.
Why is him sad, though?
When he approached, the figures vanished into the surrounding forest, leaving behind only the partially completed structure they had been working on. This sighting, like so many more before it, left the witness with more questions than answers, deepening the mystery of the Menehune. The twist that emerged from these sightings is the consistency in the behavior and actions of the Menehune across centuries, despite the changing times and the growing skepticism of the modern world. In each account, the Menehune are seen working diligently, always with a clear purpose, and always disappearing as soon as they're noticed. This consistency suggests that the Menehune, whether real or imagined, are more than just a product of folklore. They are a living part of the Hawaiian landscape, interacting with those who are open to witnessing the extraordinary.
So you gotta be open to see them. Then that means I've always had a problem with this line of thing. You have to believe in order to experience this. Which to me is like, I don't know, fake it till you make it. Because if you haven't experienced it, then you're believing it without evidence. And if you're experiencing it, then you've experienced it. So
these sightings, while often fleeting and shrouded in mystery, provide a tantalizing glimpse into the world of the Menehune. They leave us with a sense of wonder and a reminder that even in our modern world, there are still things that defy explanation. Explanations for the Menehune vary widely, with skeptics and believers offering contrasting interpretations of this fuckery. The debate between these two perspectives,
fuckery, I like that word too,
has intensified over time, with skeptics relying on rational explanations and believers asserting that the mystery of the Menehune lies beyond modern science. Skeptics often view the Menehune as a product of folklore and cultural memory, rather than as actual beings. A common explanation among skeptics is the ancient inhabitants theory, which suggests that the Menehune were the original, small-statured people who lived on the Hawaiian Islands before Polynesian settlers arrived.
Yes, that's reasonable.
Over time, these early inhabitants were displaced and became mythologized as the Menehune. Skeptics argue that stories about the Menehune's nocturnal work and extraordinary skills are embellishments.
Well, we've seen this like pan out and be real in reality, right? In like was it Borneo, where the tribe of little people live, and the people are like, yeah, there's little people, little fairy people that live on that side of the island, and they go over there and there's just like little people that live over there.
Of historical facts passed down through generations. Skeptics also believe that the physical structures credited to the Menehune, such as
it's one of the larger Sundaban islands. I can't remember which one it is though.
Fish ponds, temples, and roads, were more likely built by early Polynesians who had advanced knowledge of architecture and engineering, even though they never took credit for the structures. The stories crediting these works to the Menehune were, according to this view, created to add mystery to these ancient constructions. Another explanation from
why do they have to take credit for it or even remember that their ancestors built it? Right? If you stop using something for a few generations and then you discover it, you may not know that, hey, great-great-grandpa's great-great-grandpa's great-great-grandpa built this, but great-great-grandpa might have known that, but great-great-grandpa's dead, so now it's a mystery, and you can attribute it to the fairies.
Skeptics is that the Menehune represent cultural symbolism, embodying values such as hard work, humility, and a connection to the land. In this view, the stories of the Menehune are symbolic, teaching lessons about perseverance and cooperation, rather than describing actual beings. The skeptical perspective is grounded in historical and cultural context, providing a logical framework for understanding the origin of the...
that logical?
Menehune stories. However, skeptics tend to dismiss eyewitness accounts, often attributing them to misperceptions or the power of suggestion. By focusing strictly on rational explanations, skeptics overlook the more mysterious aspects of the Menehune phenomenon, which continue to captivate many. In contrast, believers maintain that the Menehune are real, existing either in the physical world or in a parallel dimension. Many believe that the Menehune are supernatural beings with abilities far beyond those of ordinary humans. According to this view, their capacity to construct intricate structures in a single night, their ability to vanish without a trace, walking up walls and across ceilings, and their preference for working in secret all point to their existence as magical creatures who coexist with humans but remain hidden.
So you have to believe in magic to believe in that portion of the theory.
One intriguing theory among believers links the Menehune to Homo floresiensis, a small hominid species discovered on Flores Island in Indonesia in 2003. Some suggest that the Menehune could be a remnant population of Homo floresiensis, or a similar species that once inhabited Hawaii. This theory posits that ancient populations of small humans may have survived in isolated pockets, later becoming the basis for legends.
But they would have had to have been seafaring to get to Hawaii unless they came over with another population of humans, or another population of Homo, which is possible too, as like a another class in the society, as a distinct class within the society, or even as like a slave population or servant population, things like that. A labor population, that's kind of cringe, but it happens.
The believers' explanations embrace the mystery and wonder of the Menehune, allowing for the possibility that there are still unexplained phenomena in the world. The supernatural aspects of the Menehune stories resonate with human fascination with the unknown, adding depth to the legends. The connection to Homo floresiensis offers a scientific angle, suggesting a historical basis for the existence of small-statured beings. However, the believer's perspective relies heavily on anecdotal evidence, which is difficult to verify.
There has to be an explanation for how they would have gotten to Hawaii, though, because we don't know. We don't have any reason to believe at this point in time that the Homo floresiensis people were seafaring. There's just, I mean, not saying that they couldn't have been, but we don't have any evidence that they were.
The theory connecting the Menehune to Homo floresiensis also faces significant challenges, as there is no archaeological evidence to suggest that this species ever reached Hawaii, as of yet anyway. Three prevailing theories exist regarding the origins of the Menehune. First, some believe the Menehune were a true race of people, as suggested by a census in 1820, where 65 folks identified themselves as Menehune in Wainea, Kauai. Historian R.S. Koikendall also concluded that the Menehune were humans, though no skeletal remains of a small race have been found on Kauai or other Hawaiian islands. Another theory, proposed by ethnologist Bruce Cartwright, suggests that a Hawaii lowboat may have transported the Menehune to Hawaii, where they became part of the local population. Cartwright posits that later arrivals, such as the Nanalu, interbred with the Menehune. Finally, there are claims that the Menehune are not mentioned in pre-contact mythology, and therefore the name does not refer to an ancient race of people. However, this argument turns out to be pretty fucking lame, as nearly all accounts of the past in Hawaiian culture are passed down through word of mouth from one generation to the next, meaning they didn't write shit down. Their word was it.
That is, and that's the way a lot of ancient cultures handed down their folklore. But what the claim here is that there was no folklore about the Menehune pre-contact. So, I mean, playing kind of fast and loose with the claim. Not that they didn't have written records of it, but just that there were no records of it, of people talking about the Menehune at all before Cook.
The explanations for the Menehune range from rational and historical to mystical and supernatural. Whether viewed as displaced ancient inhabitants, symbolic cultural figures, or supernatural beings with ties to the Hobbit people of Flores, the mystery of the Menehune continues to intrigue and inspire. The debate between skeptics and believers highlights the complexity of this legend, leaving the true nature of the Menehune completely open to interpretation. The Menehune hold a special place in Hawaiian folklore, embodying
Ooh, that beach looks cool. This like the black sand, like from it's basically lava rock ground of sand. But look at that little isolated cove. This guy out here, though, is going to get eaten by a tiger shark. Never be this guy if you go to the beach, okay? Because this is the one that the predators will target. They don't target the people that are in a group like this. Right? Even if all this whole group was out here where he is, they target the isolated individual. Keep that in mind when you go to the ocean if you're worried about being attacked by predators.
the rich tapestry of myth, history, and culture that defines the islands. As master builders, secretive artisans, and guardians of ancient knowledge, their stories have been passed.
Is it artisans? I've always said artisans. Is it artisans? No way. Have I been saying it wrong all this time? I'd say artisan. It's spelled like artisan, not artesian. Artisan. Yeah, artisan. What? Artesian.
Passed down through generations, shaping the collective memory of the Hawaiian people. These tales are not merely whimsical legends, but reflections of deeper
And please bear with me because I say lots of things wrong myself, so.
cultural values, such as respect for the land, the importance of community, and the enduring connection to the ancestors who once walked these shores. The stories of the Menehune also serve as a bridge between the past and the present, offering glimpses into the lives of those who came before them. Whether they are remembered as ancient inhabitants, supernatural beings, or symbols of cultural identity, the Menehune remind us of the complexity and depth of human history. They illustrate how myths can preserve fragments of the past, blending reality with imagination to create a narrative that speaks to the core of who we are. Ultimately, the Menehune are more than
Are the Menehune well water, like, spirits then? Or like well spirits?
just characters in a story. They are a testament to the ways in which culture and history intertwine. Their legend continues to captivate and inspire, leaving us to wonder what other mysteries might still be hidden within the fabric of our world. If you made it this far, do me a huge solid. Tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. That way, you won't miss out on more of my crazy-ass videos. And besides,
You do
I
have some
really
crazy-ass
appreciate it.
videos.
I've also got some kick-bucking-ass merch. The link's down in the description. I've got Scarinator shirts and tanks. I got Stay Creepy mugs, t-shirts, stickers, and all kinds of miscellaneous stuff.
Oh, hey, check this out. I got stuff too. Doo-doo! We have Cryptic Corner t-shirts. Cryptic Corner t-shirts are here. Get yourself a Mothman or Swamp Booger or a Jersey Devil. Collect all 4 designs, but there's actually 5 now, but only temporarily, because you can still get Dogman year-round, but you can never get Fresno Nightcrawler year-round. All right. Had to do a little ad there. Get your cryptid merch. All right, so that was Uncle Perry telling us about the Menehune and their tiny tunnels and ditches, and they dig through the ditches and burn through the witches because Uncle Perry looks just like Rob Zombie. The Menehune and his Dracula. All right, so what do you think about about this little slice of Hawaiian mythology, folklore, and cryptozoology? Is there something to it? Is this based on an ancient population of peoples that lived on the island that had distinct phenotypic traits that made them, they were smaller in stature than the people of Tahitian ancestry? It seems like people were identifying themselves as descendant from this group. Or are they fairies? Are they some kind of other species of Homo, of human that made the island? Are they some other kind of primate, like a Yeti? What are we talking about here? What are these creatures? Are they just fairies? Is this just fairy lore to explain structures built by ancestors that were forgotten? You tell me in the comments. Do you think they're elves, maybe? I think elves is spelled with a V, isn't it? I'm being all grammar Nazi today. Mostly because the floresensis. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this has been Cryptic Corner. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.